Have you ever looked at a map and wondered not just what is where, but why it's there? That one simple question is really the key to unlocking a totally new way of seeing the world, and that's exactly what we're going to get into.
So let's get this straight right away. Real geography isn't about memorizing state capitals. Nope, it's about being a detective. It's about looking at the world around you and constantly asking that one simple, powerful question. Why? Why are big cities almost always on rivers? Why do some places boom while others bust? This is what we call the why of where. It's the secret to seeing the hidden forces that shape our lives.
And this core idea, the why of where, it's so central. It's basically the entire foundation of how a geographer thinks. So let's break down what that actually means.
Okay, so the official term for all this is thinking geographically, which is really just a fancy way of saying you look at the world like a giant puzzle. It's not just seeing, hey, that city is on a river, it's understanding how that river was the key to its growth, how it connected it to other places. It's all about connecting the dots on the map to see the bigger picture, and it's a super powerful way to make sense of everything.
Every good detective needs a toolkit, right? Well, for a geographer, the most important tool by far is the map. But, and this is a big but, not all maps are created equal, not even close. So let's open up the kit and see what's inside.
When you boil it down, maps pretty much come in two main flavors. First, you've got your reference maps. These are the ones you know and love, like a road atlas or a political map of the world. They're awesome for showing you where stuff is. But then you have thematic maps. And that, my friends, is where the real storytelling begins.
And this just shows the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got your standard reference map of the US. It's useful. It shows you the states, capitals, the usual. But now, look at the map on the right. This is a thematic map. And suddenly, the map isn't just showing you locations anymore, is it? It's telling this powerful story about health and culture, and you can see this really clear regional pattern emerge.
And believe me, this is just scratching the surface. Geographers have a whole arsenal of these specialized maps. Each type is like a different tool for telling a story. Some use color, others use dots or symbols of different sizes. The key thing is that each one is designed to show you a unique part of the data, a totally different angle on the story.
Geographers will even, get this, literally bend and distort geography itself just to tell a story more clearly. This is a cartogram. See how the states are all warped and weird looking? That's because their size here has nothing to do with their actual land area. It's based on a piece of data. It's kind of mind-bending, right? But it's an incredibly powerful way to visualize the true impact of something on the landscape. Okay, so we've got our detective kit. It's packed with all these amazing maps. But like with any powerful tool, you gotta know the rules to use it right. If you don't, you could totally misread the clues. All right, the single most important concept for reading any map is scale. The easiest way to think about it is like the map's zoom level. It's what decides if you're looking at a single street corner, a whole country, or the entire planet. And as you're about to see, just changing that zoom level can completely flip the story the map is telling. Man, this is one of the best examples of scale in action. On the left, you've got an election map by state. At this small scale, looking at the whole country, it tells one story. But now, look what happens on the right when we zoom in to a large scale and look at the county level. Wow, it's a much more complicated, more nuanced picture, isn't it? It's the exact same data, but changing the scale just revealed a totally different narrative. So just as scale can change our perspective, the way we even describe our location is also super important. So think about this for a sec. If a friend texted you right now asking where you at, how would you answer? You probably wouldn't text back your exact GPS coordinates, right? That's what we call your absolute location, a precise fixed point. No, you'd more likely say something like, I'm across the street from the library, and that is your relative location. It's describing where you are based on other stuff around you. For geographers, both are absolutely essential. And that whole idea of absolute location is only possible because of the global grid of latitude and longitude. These lines crisscross the entire planet, and where they intersect, you get a totally unique, unchangeable address for every single point on Earth. It's the planet's ultimate system for saying X marks the spot. And just like location, distance has two sides to it. There's absolute distance, which is easy, 10 miles. But what's often way more important is relative distance. I mean, think about it. Is that 10 miles a 15-minute drive on the highway?
Or is it an hour-long nightmare in rush hour traffic? The relative distance changes everything, and it has a huge impact on how we interact with places. Okay, so let's recap. We've got our tools, all these different maps. We understand the rules, things like scale, location, and distance. Now for the payoff. Let's use all of this to find the hidden patterns that structure our world.
Because once you start thinking this way, you realize the world isn't just random. There's a logic to it. There's a reason why all the stores are on the main street and the houses are on the quiet ones. A geographer's job is to spot these arrangements, these spatial patterns, and then figure out the story behind them.
And these patterns usually take a few common shapes. Sometimes things are all packed tightly together in a cluster. Other times they follow a road or a river in a linear pattern. And sometimes things are just spread really far apart or dispersed. Let's see what these actually look like in the real world.
This picture of the Earth from space at night is such a perfect example of a clustered pattern. Why are the lights all grouped up like that? Because that's where the people, the resources, and the opportunities are. They're all clustered together in cities. See? The pattern itself reveals the process.
And here's a classic linear pattern for you. The subway stops are obviously arranged in lines because they have to follow the tracks. And so what happens? Well, businesses and whole neighborhoods start to grow along those lines to take advantage of the easy access.
And finally, some patterns don't just happen naturally. They're designed. The grid of streets and public squares you see here is a perfect example of a geometric pattern. This wasn't some happy accident. It was a deliberate plan. It's a human idea literally drawn onto the landscape.
But with all these maps we've been looking at, there's one last crucial truth we have to face. No map is perfect. It is physically impossible to take our big, round Earth and make it perfectly flat without some kind of distortion. You've probably seen the famous Mercator map that makes Greenland look bigger than Africa. It's great for navigation, terrible for comparing size. It's like trying to flatten an orange peel. It's going to stretch and tear somewhere.
And you know what? That's okay, because a map's purpose isn't to be a perfect replica of reality. Its purpose is to be a useful tool. The real art of mapmaking, of cartography, is all about choosing the right kind of distortion to reveal the specific truth you're looking for. There is no one true map, only the right map for the question you're asking.
So, the next time you look at a map or even just walk down your own street, try to see it with a geographer's eyes. Ask yourself, what's the pattern here? And more importantly, what's the why of where? The world is full of clues, and now you have the toolkit to start solving its mysteries. The only question is, what will you discover?